I think it'll help a lot with sketching, so then you'll go back to sketching. Then we'll start these. How many of you are going to DC? Most. Some people will start them tomorrow, and some people will start on Monday when you get back. So what I have in here is the Elmer's glue in a little bit of water. You don't want to have too much water, otherwise it won't stick together. So you can either put all of the yarn in there, it tangles, so it gets more difficult, but you do want the yarn to soak up some of the glue, and it is going to be messy. So your hands are going to get quickly gross. So if any of you have like rings or anything on, you should probably take them off. So what you're going to do, you're going to have the whole thing covered in the glue, and just like you were doing paper mache, you're just going to squeeze out the glue. Scrape off your hands and the edge. So it does get extremely messy. And then you're going to lay it on top of the area that you want. So what you want to make sure that you do is cut pieces before you get your hands all messy, or you're going to have to constantly wash your hands, which getting up and down, it'll take you a really long time to finish this. So make sure that you cut enough pieces for like a whole class period. And there's different techniques that you guys can use. You can use braiding, you can use weaving, anything that you think is going to help with your design. So if you have a really solid piece, weaving is a good thing to start with and to think about using, because if you're weaving things together, it'll have more of a hold. So one thing you need to think about is having the yarn connect. So if it's not connected to another piece of yarn, it'll fall right off. You can't have any floating pieces. So whether it's connected in a little spot or it is directly on top of each other like that. And there's a lot of options that you guys can use for different techniques. You can build up pieces, you could crumple the yarn together. Anything that you think of doing is free game. So whatever will help you with the individual designs of your mats. So another thing that you can do is you can do it very neatly if you want to, or you can do random designs on top. This makes it a little bit more difficult because you're going to have to attach the yarn together, and it won't stay directly in the spot that you want it right away. Until you build up a lot of yarn next to each other, it's going to move around. And they do take a while to dry, so the next day when you come in, it won't be completely dry. It'll take a few days to dry. So we're going to be working on these for quite a bit of time until you guys finish, and then it'll take a day or two before you can start painting them. You can also paint them in a while, it's up to you, depending on the look that you want. Does anyone have any questions so far? No. Alright, so the reason I wanted to show you this while you're still sketching is because yarn is very different to work with. It's not paper, it's not solid. You have to think about how you're going to attach the pieces together. If I were to take this off as it is, there's too much open space for it to hold together. So you're going to need a decent amount of yarn touching each other before you can peel off the mask and not have it fall apart. So after we add a whole bunch of different layers of yarn and finish your design completely, we can use a spray glue to seal it, and I also have a Mod Podge spray that you can put right over it that'll make sure that it all holds together. The spray glue you can do before you paint it, and the Mod Podge after, and it'll seal the paint in as well. Alright? Do you have any questions? No? Alright. You guys can keep sketching, and I'll come around and check them and see where we go. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.